Paleography places the dates of the manuscripts and papyri of John's Revelation anywhere from the 2nd to the 19th centuries. As we have seen, when viewed from chain of custody, the picture is far different. The same documents range from the 15th to the 20th centuries. Some scholars admit that paleography, the primary dating methodology for the manuscripts of the New Testament and other historical documents, is not to be preferred if there were any other way of dating with greater certainty. Others believe they have found a means to date an ancient document with the concreteness and accuracy that science demands. Radiocarbon dating, a form of radiometric dating, is used to date artifacts that cannot be dated directly, such as rocks, fossils, and historical objects. The method was first proposed by Willard Libby in 1949. In the decades since, the methodology and technology of radiocarbon dating has been refined and become a standard tool for archaeologists and paleontologists. Not surprisingly, radiocarbon dating has been used to date ancient manuscripts. For example, it was Libby himself who first used it for this purpose when he dated the Great Isaiah Scroll, one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, through a sample of its linen wrapping. Scholars were quick to declare victory for the test and the antiquity of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But was this really the case? Did this new method of dating confirm what scholars already believed they knew? Certainly not. The Great Isaiah Scroll has been tested 3 times, including the first by Libby. The outcomes and processes of these tests is enlightening. The newer tests were performed through accelerator mass spectrometry, known as AMS. In 1991, an AMS facility in Zurich tested the Great Isaiah Scroll along with other scrolls. The test achieved similar results as that of Libby. In 1995, the Great Scroll was tested in Tucson and achieved comparable dates. In both cases, the date range overlapped the range proposed by paleographic analysis. That the 2 more recent tests were so similar was judged to be a confirmation of the accuracy of the new dating method. But this is circular reasoning. Any dating method using the same equipment, the same process, and the same samples are likely going to give the same results. The truth of the matter is that the only way to validate any dating method, whether it be paleography or radiocarbon dating, is to compare the results with an absolute date. But the reason these methods are being used in the first place is because there are no absolute dates. They wouldn't be necessary if there were. But scientists and scholars know this, whether or not they will admit it. When results from radiocarbon and paleography agree with each other, the scientific community is satisfied that the results are valid. But what happens when the results diverge from expectations or are not consistent with each other? When testing the Dead Sea Scrolls, both Zurich and Tucson analyzed over 20 samples. Almost all results met expectations. However, one test, performed by the facility in Tucson, did not. The sample, scroll 4Q258, is dated at 30 to 1 BCE by paleographic analysis. The AMS results placed it at 133 to 227 Common Era. In other words, it ranged from 1.5 to 2.5 centuries more recent than expectations. There was no overlap in the dating schemes. Scholars who supported the paleographic date and the results of the other radiocarbon dates rejected this test result, calling it anomalous. Of course, the resolution to this problem was to retest the sample until it produced the desired outcome. The second test was performed, the desired result obtained, and the controversy was resolved. But this is not science, nor does this behavior lend credence to the methodologies involved. Unfortunately, this type of behavior amongst the scholarly community is quite common. For example, when testing the famous Shroud of Turin, carbon dating proved that the shroud was of medieval origin. Yet the debate rages on as to whether the carbon-14 dates are valid. One scientific association released a statement contesting the accuracy of the dating, and, as in the case of the Dead Sea Scrolls, asked for the shroud to be retested. The bottom line is that whatever its merits, radiocarbon dating will only be accepted when it meets the preconceptions of scientists. Results that run counter to expectations will be automatically rejected.